Hello everyone. Before we start, I feel that I have to say this. I want to give a trigger warning for today's video, or tonight's video, you know what I mean. Warning, here's a warning. This game contains suicide, depression, suicide, depression, murder, as well as abuse. If any of you here are triggered, if any of you here are triggered by those things, then please stop the video here, or stop the video at any time, whatever. Look, your mental health is more important than sitting through this video. I just want you all to know that. Okay? That said, hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing something a bit different. Tonight I was actually going to do a video on Saw X, but then around last week or the week before, I played this, and then I saw Jenny play it on her live stream, so I was like, screw it, I have to do a video on this. That said, Silent Hill: The Short Message. Silent Hill: The Short Message is a free-to-play Silent Hill game that was released by Konami, or as I like to call them, the spawn of Satan. Before I get into this game, I feel I should give my thoughts on what I think about the other Silent Hill games. So just give me a minute. Okay. Alright. Unprofessional as always, but regardless. Alright. For those who don't know, Silent Hill is a survival horror game series. It got its start all the way back in 1999 for the PlayStation 1. I did not grow up playing Silent Hill. My dad was always more of a Resident Evil kind of guy, so I never really got a chance to play the Silent Hill games. It wasn't until many years later that I finally showed interest. And I've played, and I do want to say, I haven't played every single Silent Hill game in this series, but I have played I believe anyway, the most popular and most well-known. So that said, here are my quick thoughts on the other Silent Hill games. The original Silent Hill. Unfortunately, I do not have a copy of this one. I played it on my PS3 before the PS3 store shut down. Thanks, Sony, by the way. And it's a damn shame, too, because I really like the original game. I think it's a really damn good, really solid survival horror game. I hear a lot of people say the original game is dated and has not aged very well, but honestly, the only thing about it that I don't think has aged very well is the graphics and voice acting. Which even then, when compared to the original Resident Evil, it's nowhere near as bad. Like, I can at least listen to the voice acting in that game and not chuckle, and not burst out laughing unintentionally, like with the original Resident Evil. That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich. Oh, God. It feels like it's been what, almost 30 years since the original the original Resident Evil came out, and that line is still meme-worthy. But yeah, I really like the original game. Silent Hill 2. I love the shit out of this game. I really do. It basically upped everything that the first game did. It upped the horror, it upped the monster design, it upped the psychological horror. Everything just got a massive improvement. I personally believe this is the best. 2 is the best of the series. And yeah, like many, I do hope that Blooper Team does not screw it up bad with its remake that's coming out. But yeah. Silent Hill 3. Yeah, not much of a real... I know it's not the actual cover, but it's used games. This was the cheapest I could find. But yeah, Silent Hill 3. Not as good as 2, but I do feel it is probably the scariest out of the original trilogy, I feel. I feel like it has the best suspense, tension, atmosphere out of the original trilogy. That doesn't make it the best out of them, but in terms of best scares, I think 3 did it the best. The monster designs are great. It was nice to actually return back to some characters from the first game, and I actually really liked Heather a lot and her story. Plus, who can forget that badass opening theme? But yeah, Silent Hill 4: The Room. And yes, let's get the joke out of the way right now. Oh, hi, Mark. There, I did the joke. Now let's talk about Silent Hill 4: The Room. This 4 is still to this day the most controversial of the bunch. Me personally, I like the game. But I do see why people have complaints. And no, it's not because it doesn't take place in the town from the other games. I actually thought that was a really interesting part, honestly. It was definitely different to set it in a different town. No, and in like a different place entirely. And I will admit, the idea of a man being trapped in his own room is terrifying and unique. Honestly, the issues I have with the game are really just due to things later, like how, and it bugs me that it doesn't tell you about certain things later on, like how now when you go back to the apartment, you won't regen health. In fact, you'll lose health because the whole apartment's being possessed or some shit like that. Or the fact that in order to get a good ending, you need to make sure that your friend, I can't remember her name at the moment, doesn't get hurt too bad. Which I get it, that's exactly what Silent Hill 2 did with Maria, but it's a lot more of a pain in the ass here because like this woman follows you throughout like almost the entire second half of the game, including a boss fight, which makes it increasingly frustrating to make sure she doesn't get hurt too bad, especially because bullets are a lot more limited in the game. I like the game. I just think it's way too frustrating for me personally. But yeah, Silent Hill 4. No, Silent Hill Homecoming. I'm tired. Okay, Silent Hill Homecoming. I hate this thing. I'm gonna be upfront. I really hate this game a lot. The combat system is beyond frustrating. The enemy AI is cheap as hell. Barely any new and unique monster designs, and even when they are there, they look freaking stupid. No interesting characters. Barely any psychological horror whatsoever. Monsters from Silent Hill 2 show up, even though they are not supposed to be there whatsoever. It's awful. It is the only Silent Hill game that I legit did not have any fun playing. And it really just goes to show that after Team Silent left, that Konami did not give two shits or had no idea what to do with this franchise. Which again is why so many people are suspicious of the remake of 2 coming out. Please don't suck. Yeah. Silent Hill Downpour. A lot of people say this is the worst, but honestly, it's bad, but I definitely pick it over Homecoming. Downpour's issues are the opposite of Homecoming, where Homecoming fails because of how clunky and frustrating it is. Downpour fails because it's just very underwhelming. It tries, don't get me wrong. I do like that there's more inclusion of psychological horror, which was sorely lacking in Homecoming. I do like that the combat is not clunky or dumb like in that game. And I even like that they brought back the difficulty option to puzzles. Um but I guess you could say I guess what I'm trying to say is Downpour at least feels more like a Silent Hill game to me than Homecoming did. What ruins the game, though, is because it's just so bland and boring. And navigating the town is such a pain in the ass because of the way they did the stupid map system. It's, and it just made it frustrating. Um, it's, I do like Downpour more, but by God, is it more boring. And maybe that's why people think it's the worst. But hey, at least you got a kick-ass song from Korn out of it. Okay, and those are my thoughts on all the Silent Hill games I have played. All the other ones out there, like Book of Memories, what else? Oh yeah, Shattered Memories, or Origins, or, Christ, any of the Silent Hill mobile games, I have not played. I have tried to track down copies of the other games, but they are ridiculously expensive right now. Maybe sometime in the future, in particular, especially because I hear good things about Shattered Memories, but yeah. That said, let's talk about Silent Hill: The Short Message. This game kind of just showed up right the hell out of nowhere. The game was announced at Sony's State of Play, and it was announced right after we got a gameplay trailer for the remake of Silent Hill 2. I actually remember seeing screenshots of this game, like, way back. I can't even remember when. And I actually thought it was I actually thought it was just something fan made or just like a rumor, but no. Apparently, those screenshots and leaks were real. And they came from this game. But yeah. So, and not only did they announce this game, but they announced that you could play it right now after the State of Play was over, and that it was free! I know, right? Free? Especially from Konami? Yeah. Overall, a lot of Silent Hill fans have been very mixed about this game. There are some that actually do like it, and then there's some that just downright hate it. So I figure why don't I throw my hat into the ring? I don't know why I did that. I'm bored. Okay. Whatever. Let's just talk about the damn game. Is Silent Hill: The Short Message actually worth your time? Well, let me have a look. Ah, damn it. Like I said, I'm professional as hell, as always. Let's just get started. Silent Hill: The Short Message follows a teenage, I believe, an 18-year-old girl. You can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Feel free to, seriously. Named Anita. If I recall correctly, I believe she's in Germany. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. She finds herself at this abandoned apartment complex. And we also find out that she deals with depression and suicidal thoughts. And then she later finds out that one of her friends, Maya, is now dead and had committed suicide at the apartment that Anita is at. But here's where it gets weird. Every time Anita dies, dies, she wakes back up in the apartment. Um, and and the apartment somehow seems to bring out dark thoughts and memories from Anita's past, as well as her thoughts with the thoughts with her depression and everything. To make matters even worse, there's a mysterious monster-like creature covered in cherry blossoms that's chasing after her. Anita tries to find a way out of the apartment and try to find out what the hell the apartment wants from her, or what any of this means. Okay, so I will address some of the criticisms that Silent Hill fans have addressed with this game. One of the biggest that I hear personally is that a lot of people really did not like how this game handled its talk of suicide and depression. Well, it's more accurate to say that a lot of people found it very obnoxious. A lot of people felt that the messages were way too forced and shoved in your face. And in a sense, I totally understand. It is very like right in your face, and it definitely is nowhere near as subtle as the past games. And I can't imagine that being quite annoying to fans. However, to be perfectly honest, though, it really didn't bother me, and I think I think that's for two reasons. One, I suffer from depression myself, so whenever I see any medium portray it, I always show respect. Unless it's not handled well, and I personally feel that this game handles it very well. Obviously my depression is nowhere near as bad as Anita's, but there were certain parts of the game where I was like, yep, that's exactly how I feel at times. In particular, the room full of all the post-it notes with that has all the bad things Bully said about her. And at that moment I was like, yep, this is my mind. Yay. But yeah, I personally don't think it handled it well. And I think the second reason why it doesn't bother me is because it still is Silent Hill. Silent Hill, at the end of the day, is psychological horror. And that is exactly what Silent Hill, the short message, is. It is psychological horror. It may not be as subtle as past games, but still, it tried a lot harder than these two pieces of shit did. This game felt more like a return to form for psychological horror, not in terms of gameplay, but in terms of what Silent Hill is supposed to be. Would I have liked it better if it was a lot more subtle? Of course, but at least it gave a damn and it tried. And that's really all I'm asking. I'd much rather see a Silent Hill game try and fail than not even try at all. But yeah, our main character in the game, Anita, I actually really grew to like her a lot. Again, I can understand why some people don't like her, because again, the commentary on depression and suicide is not subtle at all. But still though, even though it's not subtle, you still can relate to Anita a lot and feel sorry for her at least. And I think that's what I love the most about this game. This game at the end of the day, is the story of this 18-year-old girl dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts, and this apartment seems to kind of want her to not gear towards suicide, almost like the apartment is challenging her, and it won't let her go until she realizes that she does have friends, she does have people that care for her, that there's hope out there. And I think that is a very solid idea for not just a Silent Hill game, but any horror game. Again, you could make the argument that Silent Hill 2 handled it a lot better, and I will not stand against that. But I still think it handled it very well, and I actually really grew to like Anita's character a lot. But yeah. I also heard a lot of people say that graphically the game doesn't look that great, but honestly, I can kind of see why, but to be fair, I've seen far worse. I mean, especially compared to Homecoming and Downpour. And don't get me wrong, I know that Homecoming and Downpour came out for the PS3. Yeah. You wanna know what else came out for the PS3? God of War 3. A game that looks so gorgeous that Sony ported it to the PS4 and 5, and it still looks goddamn gorgeous. Silent Downpour and Homecoming have no excuse for looking as shit as they do. This game at least looks a lot better. It at least looks like a game that would be on a PS5. And I also did feel that the location was a good setting for a Silent Hill game. Being trapped in a decrepit old apartment is nothing new, but I think what really makes it stand out is the fact that the apartment shifts and shapes itself and forms itself in and just kind of forms itself into what almost feels like shadows or echoes of the past. I feel that's very unique. Actually, I haven't seen the movie, but I heard there was a Stephen King film, I think called 1208, I think it's called, and I haven't seen it, but from what I hear, that movie did something similar to what this game did, and it's a great idea. Again, especially for a psychological horror game. Probably the biggest thing that makes this game feel so different is its gameplay. Past Silent Hill games, the original trilogy played kind of like the classic Resident Evil games, while Homecoming and Downpour seem to take more from Resident Evil 4. Sorry, I had just eaten earlier. I apologize. But Silent Hill, The Short Message, seems to take more inspiration from games like Outlast and Amnesia. And don't get me wrong, at first I absolutely hated this, because I'm sorry, I am not a fan of Amnesia and Outlast. Not that they're bad games, they're just not the kind of horror games I enjoy. I much rather enjoy horror games where you actually do have a way of defending yourself. Being forced to run away from the monster, it always feels way too repetitive to me in horror games. But that's just me. However, again, I think it works here again because the unique way the story is told, and while a lot of it is cliched and has been done before, I think it's handled well. The voice acting in the game, I think, is really good from everyone all around. The only voice actor that isn't that great is Anita's mom. She goes a bit way too over the top. So much so that the chick, what's her name? That woman from the movie, where with the woman saying no wire hangers. I'm terribly sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but, yeah, Anita's mom's performance in the game was a bit much, that I think even that woman would be like, okay, you need to tone it down a notch there, lady. But aside from that, the voice acting from everybody else is stellar. which, to be fair, is kind of weird to say in a Silent Hill game, but I'm not complaining. But yeah, the only part, the monster that follows Anita through the game, I think, is a really cool design. It definitely shares a lot of resemblance to a certain creature from Silent Hill 3, but I think what I love the most about it is the fact that the monster is carried in cherry blossoms, and the reason why this is important is because Anita's friend who died, Maya, her signature and her style was always cherry blossoms. And knowing that, you can kind of look at the monster and interpret it differently. Is it meant to represent Anita's guilt for Maya's death? Is it meant, or maybe it's meant to resemble Anita thinking that Maya is back for vengeance as a vengeful monster or something. Like, there's a lot, I think there's a lot to interpret there. I think the only real problem I have with the gameplay is the chase sequences. They're not awful, but they do feel a bit clunky, and it is quite frustrating how when the monster finds you, you have to start the chase all over again, and the way they put the monster and spawn it can get quite dickish towards the end. It's especially annoying during the sequence where you have to find all the objects, because you have no idea where the objects are, and you need to find all of them in order to finish the game. It can get frustrating. But none of it was enough to make me hate the game. But this isn't the reason why I wanted to make a video for this game. It's not just because I think it's a good game and I like how it's a return to Silent Hill. The biggest reason why I wanted to talk about this game is because of the game's depiction of depression. Whether you think the game handles it a bit too on the nose or not, at the end of the day, this game is still pushing a message that I feel really still needs to be pushed today. There are a lot of people, probably hundreds, no, maybe thousands of people who suffer from depression today, especially in the U.S. And I always feel that a game that has a message like this is important because it is a big issue, and it always is frustrating that I feel anyway, a lot of people don't take mental health as seriously as they should, or at least the people who are involved with like healthcare and people's well-beings and all that. Mental health just always feels like it's put on the back burner, in service of physical health. Which, don't get me wrong, physical health is just as important, but the mind needing to heal is just as important as the physical body. And I feel like that's not focused on a lot. And I think that's why we still see to this day, unfortunately, a lot of suicides. And it's a real damn shame. And I think by the end of this game, that's when I was like, I absolutely love this game. Towards the end, around the end of the game, Anita calls her friend, Anya, who she's been talking to throughout the entire game on her phone. Anita's about to jump from the top of the apartment again, like she's done 2 times before. But right before she does it, Anya texts her, why don't we go to the store, go shopping tomorrow? We can talk. Just don't leave me. At that point, Anita realizes what she's doing is wrong. She steps away from the ledge, and just like that, and like a cover, the the darkness of the apartment disappears and Anita's back. This moment legit actually made me tear up because it's for a personal reason. Many years ago, back in 2015, I had moved to a new place, and I had found out that my dad took his own life, and it was awful, really bad. Like, that part of my life still remains the darkest ever. I have yet to suffer through anything worse than that, and I doubt I will. At least I hope I don't. But and if there is anybody out there watching this, if you're dealing with similar issues, I want to say this: don't ever give up, please. There will always be someone there to help you. There will always be people out there that love you and care for you. There will always be someone out there who will be there to comfort you whenever you need it. There's nothing wrong about having bad days, or just days where you're not feeling, or days where you're not feeling so great emotionally. Just because you suffer from depression or any other mental illness, that doesn't make you weak. No matter what you're struggling with in your life, you are strong. You are always worth it in the end, and I hope you realize that. I know that this got really personal, but yeah. That's really the reason why I wanted to make this video. But yeah. With that said, I did enjoy this game. It's not perfect, but it felt like a return to form, and if any game's able to make me tear up at the end, then it's doing something right. If this, I don't know if I would want to see every Silent Hill game in the near future be like this one. I would like a more return to form, like what Capcom did with Resident Evil 7, but at least this was the first time in a while where I was like, oh my god, I am playing a new Silent Hill game and I actually enjoy it. And I really hope I get to say that again with all the other upcoming Silent Hill games. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. You can find this on the PlayStation 5. Like I say it's free, and you can beat it in 2 hours. I think that's the thing too. It is free, so honestly, for a free game, it tries a lot harder than it has any right to be. But yeah. That's pretty much everything I have. I know it's kind of awkward, but I think you're all used to it at this point. So, yeah. I hope you like this video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. And subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah. And again, for anybody struggling out there, just stay strong. I can promise you things will always get better. Just need to keep going and never stop. Thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Goodbye.